another little baking session for you. We're going to make some pistachio amaretti, but it's going to be pistachio with some added fennel seeds, so that's going to give it a slightly less sweet angle, if you like. Okay, so obviously for this we're going to need some pistachios. Now I've got in here about 960 grams. Now be careful, because the bag said it was a kilo and literally it was 960 grams in there. Alright, so 960 kilos, so this is going to be about 30. I mean, you can halve these quantities and we can make, you know, 15, but where's 15 going to go? Alright, so we're going to make about 30. So 960 grams of pistachios. You're going to want about 30 grams of fennel seeds. Okay. Then we're going to need some caster sugar. Caster sugar, 660 grams. So plain flour, not the pillow, because I'll probably drop the bugger. Alright, plain flour, 450 grams. We're going to need a pinch of salt. Whoops. And we're going to want six egg whites, which we'll sort out in a bit. And then you want about 180 grams of icing sugar. The icing sugar is more towards the finishing bit of it. Now, you're also going to need a blender or a food processor, because we've got to reduce this down to like a powder. And you'll need to put your oven on, but the oven doesn't want to be too hot, so we want to set our oven for about 160. Alright, and obviously we're going to need some baking trays, but we'll come to that bit in a bit. So that's your ingredients, so let's get started. Okay, now I'm obviously not going to do that whole lot in one go in my little Nutri Ninja, so I've pretty much filled it up, and I'll add some fennel seeds. Okay, put it on, and then we're just going to grind it up to like a fine powder almost. Okay, so this is going to be noisy. So we're getting there. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. I've got another bowl because obviously I'm going to have to empty this out and carry on. But the whole idea is, get some stuff on the side here, we're going to just blitz all them so they're sort of that kind of powdery finish, if you like. Okay, so I'm going to get all this ground and then we'll move to the next stage. Okay, so that's them all whizzed up. You'll find that I think the natural oils in the nuts tend to make it stick together, and certainly in my Nutri Bullet it was sticking on the sides and then not necessarily mixing, so occasionally we were getting nuts that weren't getting affected at all. So I'm just having a little look just to get out the nuts that haven't been done, and also just to try and break this up, because like I said, it does tend to make it a little bit sticky. Okay, which is good. Now we're going to need to mix this with another nut. We're going to need to mix this with the sugar and the other dry ingredients. So I might have to find a bigger bowl, I think, because obviously we've got all that sugar there to go in there, and ultimately we're going to be adding that flour as well. So that's my nut mixture done. Next stage is we're going to be adding in the sugar, but I'll find a bowl for that. So there we go. That's the nut mixture in there. So like I said, we're now going to mix in the sugar. Let's go with that. Just put that in there. Okay. Now this is going to take a little bit of doing because, like I said, the nut mixture is a little bit sticky as such, so it's tended to form lumps. So we need to make sure we get the sugar all blended in with it. Okay, and as I'm doing that, here we go again, here's a couple more nuts. Okay, there you go, run, as my mate would say. Okay, so I'm going to get this all thoroughly mixed in together, and then we'll move to the next stage. And I think at this point I'll also be putting on the oven. Well, not literally, because I don't think it fit me. Okay, so now we're going to add a pinch of salt. Okay, and I'm now going to blend in that flour. Whoops, get it everywhere. Okay, so same as before, it's just a matter of making sure it's all thoroughly mixed together. Okay, and then we'll get on with the egg white. So my oven's on, remember I said about 160. Okay, I need some baking trays. Like I said, we'll worry about that once we get to that stage. Given the number that we're going to cook, we'll be cooking them in batches, that's not a problem. Okay, so next mixing stage. Okay, actually I found in the end it was easy to get my hands in that because I could break up the lumps and I can make sure it's all thoroughly mixed together. So now, what we want now is 6 egg whites. Okay, so let's get doing some eggs now. There's not really much going into this in terms of moisture other than the natural moisture in that lot and the egg whites. That's it really. Better what I'm doing, might end up dropping yolk in there. So it's simply a matter of once we've separated out our egg white, we're going to then whisk this up. Okay, so highly exciting watching me do that bit, isn't it? So you can follow me when we get to whisking. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to whisk these until they're nice and, oops, spitting nut on the table there, until they're nice and frothy. Okay, so we're not making a meringue type whisking, if you like. We're just going to get them up nice and frothy, and then we chuck that in with all them dry ingredients. And once that's all mixed in, it's time to start shaping your balls. Okay, so like I say, this should make around about 30. So we'll be doing in batches. Now we're going to make a ball and we're going to spread it out to about 9 centimetres. And I've got these dodgy sort of like egg ring things that I got from Amazon, most of which were bent totally out of shape, and one of which the handle was, the welding was no good and the handle come off. But it's just the right size. Okay, it's just really to get the diameter, and then we will put them on the baking sheet, and they go in the oven for about 20 minutes. Okay, so like I say, we'll end up having to do this in batches the size of my oven. So we're getting there, starting to get nice and frothy. So in a bit we'll be chucking them in. Okay, so there's me nice frothy eggs. I'll just pour them in there. They've separated a little bit, I left them standing. And we're now just going to mix that all through. Now again, it's going to be a bit of a big job making sure it's all mixed through. Might even get my hands in there in a bit. Alright, so that really is the last stage in all the mixing, if you like. So once all this is mixed together, okay, all the way through, we will get on to making our amaretti. Okay, so that's our mixture all done, and this is where we want our icing sugar in the middle finger. So like I say, we're going to make about 9 centimetre biscuits, if you like, amaretti. So we take a ball, okay, about the size of a golf ball, actually probably a little bit bigger than that, I'd say. Yeah, bigger than that. And we just shape it into a nice firm ball, and we dip it into the icing sugar. Now I'm just going to make a couple of them, okay, so in they go. actually this size. I don't think we're going to get 30, but we'll wait and see. Now, what we do is we make sure we've thoroughly coated each ball. Okay, plonk it on our baking tray and then flatten it out to about a 9cm biscuit. That's why I've used that thing. All right, and so there you go, there's my first one. So it's simply a matter now of shaping, rolling in icing sugar, and then pressing it down out into a biscuit shape. Okay, and so on. Okay, so that's it for now. When we're going to shove them in the oven, I'll show you me shoving them in the oven. Isn't that exciting? There we are then. So there's our first batch ready to go in the oven. So in they go, and like I say, these will probably want, oops, I'll put on the same chair, about 20 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to set my timer and I'm going to carry on finishing off the rest of the balls. Alright, so I'll see you in about 20. Okay, I extended the cooking time, 20 minutes. They weren't really colouring. We want a little bit of colour to them. I mean, I know they're green already, but we want them to start going a little bit golden coloured. Right, so pulling them out after 25. Might be a good idea to actually rotate the trays in the oven, because I've noticed one is a lot, well, not a lot, but it's a bit more done in the oven. So we're going to let them cool a little bit, okay, because obviously they're still quite soft out the oven, and then we'll transfer them to wire rack, and then I'll put the next batch in the oven. So that's it for now, but I won't actually finish yet. I'll wait till these are cooled, and then you can see the finished article and taste it. Well, I'm tasting it. You can watch me taste it like before. Okay, so that's our pistachio and fennel amaretti, and these are the sort of soft amaretti rather than the hard ones. Okay, so I'll catch you tasting time. So, made myself a coffee. I've only just bought it, it's going to be bloody hot. It's a bit hot. But what better to go with it than a nice pistachio and fennel amaretti. So it's still a little bit warm, okay, so it's a bit soft in the middle there. Still a bit warm, nice warm. It's almost like it's doughy, even though really it's more the nutty texture, I think, but it is very reminiscent of a sort of chewy, a soft sort of chewy amaretti biscuit, which is what it's meant to be. It's not too sweet, but you can sort of taste that sort of slightly salty, fennel seedy. I mean, I know we put a pinch of salt in it, but then fennel seeds will make it taste a little bit salty. But it's not overpowering at all. One's very filling. Well, that bit I had was very filling, so I'm guessing the whole thing will be very filling. Or more than one at a time with coffee, but there you go. Cheers.